years and have been of late much accustomed to your occupation and... Alice, will you kindly pay attention to your history lesson?
I'm sorry, but how can one possibly pay attention to a book with no pictures in it?
My dear child, there are a great many good books in this world without pictures.
In this world, perhaps, but in my world, the books would be nothing but pictures.
Your world? What nonsense! Once more,
Nonsense? That's it, Dinah. If I had a world of my own, everything would be nonsense. Nothing would be what it is, because everything would be what it isn't. And contrariwise, what it wouldn't be, it would, and what it would be, it wouldn't. You see?
of Canterbury found it advisable. Oh, Alice. Come along, it's time for tea, Alice.
Oh, all right. Very well, then. Oh, Edith, please take Dinah. I forgot the book.
All right, don't dawdle. Your tea will get cold.
Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Oh, I shall be too late.
Whoever heard of a rabbit with a pocket? Or a watch to take out of it?
Oh, I'm late. Oh, I'm late, I'm late, I'm late. Oh, I'm late for a very important date.
Now this is curious. What could a rabbit possibly be late for? It must be an awfully important engagement. Wait! Please, sir! Mr. Rabbit! Oh, dear. Where did he go? Oh! I've never seen a rabbit hole this big. Oh, dear. I've never been in a rabbit hole this big. Well, after such a fall as this, I should think nothing of tumbling downstairs. How brave they will all think of me at home. This is very deep, or I am falling very slowly. I wonder how many miles I've fallen by this time. I must be getting somewhere near the center of the earth. I wonder if I shall fall right through the center of the earth. How funny it will be to come out among the people who walk with their heads downwards. Dinah should miss me very much tonight, I should think. I hope they'll remember her saucer of milk at tea time. Oh no!
Oh, my ears and whiskers. Oh, I shall be too late.
Please, sir. What a beautiful garden. I must get there. So wet.
Right here we are, so wet. I'm ready to get dry.
Sit down, all of you, and listen to me. I'll soon make you dry enough.
I feel sure I would catch a cold if I do not get dry very soon.
Ahem. This is the driest thing I know. Silence all around, if you please. William the Conqueror, whose cause was favored by the Pope, was soon submitted to by the English, who wanted leaders, and had been of late much accustomed to usurpation and conquest. I beg your pardon. Did you speak?
Not I.
I thought you did. I proceed. Edwin and Morcar, the Earls of Mercia and Northumbria, declared for him, and even Stigand, the patriotic Archbishop of Canterbury, found it advisable...
Found what?
Found it! Of course you know what it means!
I know what it means well enough. When I find a thing, it's generally a frog or a worm. The question is, what did the Archbishop find?
Found it advisable to go with Edgar Atheling to meet William and offer him the crown. William's conduct at first was moderate, but the insolence of his Norman...
How are you getting on now, my dear? Oh, as wet as ever. It doesn't seem to dry me at all. In that case, I move this meeting to adjourn for the immediate adoption of more energetic remedies.
Speak English. I am no meaning of those long words. And what's more, I don't believe you do either.
I was going to say that the best thing to get us dry would be a caucus race. What is a caucus race? Why, the best way to explain it is to do it. So you stay there, you come over there, you stay there, move forward, and yes, stay there. Are we all ready? All right, on your marks, get set, go! The race is over.
But who won?
Well, everybody has won, and we all must have prizes.
But who is to give the prizes?
Well, why she, of course.
Prizes! But she must have a prize herself, you know.
Of course. What have you got in your pocket? Let me see here. Oh, only a thimble. Hand it here. We beg your acceptance of this elegant thimble. Please, tell me your story.
Mine is a long and sad tale.
Well, it is a long tale, certainly, but why do you call it sad?
We lived beneath the mat, warm and snug and fat. But one woe, and that was the cat. To our joys a clog, in our eyes a fog, and our hearts a log, was the dog. When the cat's away, then the mice will play. But alas, one day, so they say, came the dog and cat, hunting for a rat, crushed the mice all flat, each one as he sat, underneath the mat, warm and snug and fat. Think of that! You are not attending! What are you thinking of?
I beg your pardon. You had got to the fifth bend, I think.
I had not!
A knot? Oh, please let me help to undo it.
I shall do nothing of the sort. You insult me by talking such nonsense.
She didn't mean it. You're so easily offended, you know.
Please, sir, come back.
Finish your story.
Please do. Oh, pity you wouldn't stay.
I wish Dinah was here, I know I do. She'd soon fetch it back.
And who's Dinah, if I may venture to ask the question?
Well, Dinah's our cat, and she's the most capital one for catching mice who can't think. And oh, I wish you could see her after the birds.
I must be getting home.
The knot hat doesn't suit me though.
Come along, it's high time for all. yourself?
Well, I'm afraid I can't explain myself, because I'm not myself, you know.
I do not know.
Well, I can't put it any more clearly, for it isn't clear to me.
You? Who are you?
Oh, dear. Everything is so confusing here.
It is not.
Well, it is to me. I can't remember things as I used to, and
Can't remember what things?
well, I tried to say how doth the little busy bee, but it is all different.
Recite.
Oh, yes, sir. How doth the little busy bee improve
Oh,
its...
stop! That is not spoken correctly. It goes, how doth the little crocodile improve its shining tail and pour the waters of the Nile on every golden scale? How cheer! How cheer! Ahem. How cheerfully he seems to grin, how gently spreads his jaws and welcomes little fishies in with gently smiling jaws.
But I've never heard it that way before.
I know. I've improved it.
Well, if you ask me,
You? Who are you?
Oh,
You there, girl? Come back. I have something important to say.
well, this does sound promising. Well, keep
Your temper.
is that all?
No. Exactly what is your problem?
Well, it's precisely this. All I wish to do is find the white rabbit so I can get on my way.
Which way? This is all so strange. Is it?
Well, perhaps you haven't found it so yet, but when you turn into a chrysalis, you will one day, you know, and then after that into a butterfly. I should think you'll find it all a little strange, won't you?
Oh, not a bit. Oh, and by the way, if you really want to know, he went that way.
Who did?
The white rabbit.
He did?
He did what?
Went that way?
Who did?
The white rabbit!
What rabbit?
Oh, I'd better be getting along now. Which way did that white rabbit run off to?
What is it, my dear?
Something's wrong. I feel like someone's watching us.
An invitation to the Duchess to play croquet from the Queen.
From the Queen, an invitation for the Duchess to play croquet.
Too much pepper in the soup.
There's no sort of use in nothing. First, because I'm on the same side of the door as you are, and secondly, because they made such a noise inside, no one could possibly hear.
Please then, how am I to get in?
There might be some use in you knocking. If we had a door between us, for instance, you could knock, and I would let you out. You know?
How am I to get in?
I will sit here until tomorrow.
No more sneezing.
Or next time, Ivy.
How am I to get in?
Are you getting it all? That's the first question, you know?
It really is dreadful the way these creatures
until asked back by popular demand.
Oh, there's no use in talking to him. He's perfectly idiotic.
Speak roughly to your little boy and beat him when he sneezes. He only does it to annoy because he knows it teases. Soup needs more pepper, pig.
There's too much pepper in that soup.
There's too much pepper in the soup, pig.
Why does your cat grin like that?
Don't you know anything? You're looking at a Cheshire cat.
I didn't know Cheshire cats always grinned.
They all can, and most of them do. More pepper.
I didn't know of any that do. It's the most curious thing I ever saw in all my life.
You haven't seen much, and that's a fact. Pig.
I beg your pardon.
Why? I don't beg yours. You should beg mine. It's only fair. Besides, begging isn't nice.
Be careful. You might hurt the baby.
Needs more pepper.
And the cat. Why does your cat grin like that?
What a dull girl you are. I told you, it's a Cheshire cat. They always grin. It's all they're good for.
I didn't know cats could grin at all.
Here, you take it. I must go and get ready to play croquet with the Queen.
If I can take this child away, well, there's no telling what might happen to it. My child! Don't sneeze on the baby.
Needs more pepper.
Oh, don't pepper the baby. Grunting is not a proper way of expressing yourself, my dear. If you're going to grunt like a pig, I'll have nothing more to do with you.
It's not a baby. It's a pig. See for yourself.
Oh my! It is a pig!
Give it here. I know how to deal with his sort.
Well, if it had grown up, it would have been a dreadfully ugly child.
But a rather handsome pig, I think.
I'm still wet.
What was that speech again?
William the Conqueror, whose cause was favored by the Pope, was soon submitted to by the English, who wanted leaders and has been of late much accustomed to usurpation and conquest.
Usurpation and what again?
And conquest.
Conquest.
Yes, conquest.
This is gonna take a while.
What interesting butterflies. You mean bread and butterflies?
Naturally.
I beg your pardon. Did you? Oh, that's nonsense. Flowers can't talk.
But of course we can talk, my dear.
If there's anyone worth talking to.
Can all the flowers talk?
As well as you can. It isn't manners for us to begin, you know. And I was really wondering when you'd speak.
Said I to myself, her face has got some sense in it.
Though it's not a very clever one. Still, she's a good caller, and that goes a long way.
I don't care about the colour. If only her petals curled up a little more, she'd be alright.
Aren't you sometimes frightened of being planted out here with nobody to take care of you?
There's a tree. What else is it good for?
But what could it do if any danger came?
It could bark. It says bow wow. That's why its branches are called bows.
Did you know that?
Silence, every one of you!
Well, I've been in many gardens before, but none of the flowers could talk.
Put your hand down and feel the ground. Then you'll know why we can talk.
But it's very hard, but I don't see what that has to do with it.
In most gardens, they make the beds too soft, so that the flowers are always asleep.
I never thought of that before.
It's my opinion that you never think at all.
I never saw anyone that looked stupider. Hold your tongue. Well, I never. I must have my beauties sleep. If I were you, I'd consider it as well.
Oh, so what kind of garden do you come from?
Well, I don't come from any garden.
Oh, do you suppose she's a wildflower?
Oh no, I'm not a wildflower.
Just what species, or shall we say genus, are you then?
Well, I suppose you would call me a genus humanus Alice.
Ever seen an Alice with a blossom like that?
Come to think of it, have you ever seen an Alice?
Yes, and did you notice her petals? Oh, what a peculiar color.
And no fragrance.
Just look at those stems.
Rather scrawny, I'd say.
She could use some pruning.
But I'm not a flower.
Just as I suspected. She's nothing but a comic mobile vulgaris.
Oh no! A common what?
To put it bluntly, a weed.
I'm not a weed.
Well, you wouldn't expect her to admit
Can
it.
you imagine?
Goodness.
Put her out.
Cast her out.
Don't mistake her in that deceit.
We could be overrun with weeds.
Please, girls.
Leave.
Right. That's the way you feel about it. I could pick every one of you if I wanted to. I guess that's you can learn a lot of things from the flowers. Seems to me they could learn a few things about manners. Cheshire Cat, would you mind telling me which way I ought to go from here?
That depends a good deal on where you want to get to.
Well, I don't much care where,
Then it doesn't matter which way you go.
so long as I get somewhere.
Oh, you're sure to do that, if only you walk long enough.
What sort of people live about here?
In that direction lives a hatter, and in that direction lives a March hare. Visit either you like, they're both mad.
But I don't want to go among mad people.
Oh, you can't help that. We're all mad here. I'm mad, you're mad.
How do you know I'm mad?
You must be, or you wouldn't have come here.
And how do you know you're mad?
To begin with, a dog's not mad. You got that?
I suppose so.
Well, then you see, a dog growls when it's angry, and wags its tail when it's pleased. Now I growl when I'm pleased, and wag my tail when I'm angry. Therefore, I'm mad.
I call it purring, not growling.
Call it what you like. Do you play croquet with the Queen today?
Well, I should like it very much, but I haven't been invited yet.
I'm quite certain that you've been invited. You'll see me there.
Oh dear. Now let's see. The Hatter was this way. Was that the March Hare? Oh dear. Everything is so confusing here. Oh. To the house of Tweedledee. To Tweedledum's house. Suppose they just got Tweedle round at the back of the collar.
If you think we're waxworks, you ought to pay, you know. Waxworks aren't made to be looked at for nothing, no. Contrary-wise, if you think we're alive, you ought to speak.
I'm sure I'm very sorry.
I know what you're thinking, but it isn't so now. Contrary-wise, if it was so, it might be. And if it were so, it would be. But as it isn't, it ain't. That's logic.
Well, I was thinking, which is the best way out of this wood? It's getting dark. Would you tell me, please?
Like poetry, you do.
Yes, pretty well. Some poetry, that is.
What shall we repeat to her? The Walrus and the Carpenter. That's longest. The sun was shining on the sea, shining with all his might. He did his very best to make the billows smooth and bright. And this was all because it was the middle of the night. The Walrus and the Carpenter were walking close at hand. They wept like anything to see such quantities of sand.
If this were only cleared away,
they said,
it would be grand. Oh, oyster, come and walk with us.
The walrus did beseech.
A pleasant walk, a pleasant talk along the briny bridge.
We cannot do with more than 4. To give a hand to each.
The eldest oyster looked at him, but never a word he said.
The mama oyster winked her eyes and shook her heavy head,
Meaning to say she did not choose to leave the oyster bed.
but 4 young oysters uppied up, all eager for the treat.
Your coats are brushed, your face is washed.
Your shoes are clean and neat.
And this was fairly odd, because they hadn't any feet.
4 oysters followed them, and yet another 4,
And thick and fast they came at last, and more and more and more.
all hopping through the frothy waves and scrambling to shore.
The time has come, the walrus said, to talk of many things. Of shoes and ships and sealing wax, of cabbages and kings, and why the sea is boiling hot, and whether pigs have wings.
And whether pigs have wings.
A loaf of bread,
The walrus said.
is what we chiefly need.
Pepper and vinegar besides are very good indeed.
Now, if you're ready, oysters dear, we can begin to feed.
But not on us!
The oysters cried, turning a little blue.
After such kindness, that would be a dismal thing to do.
The night is fine,
The walrus said.
to play them such a trick, after we've brought them out so far and made them trot so quick.
The carpenter said nothing, but
The butter spread too thick.
I weep for you.
The walrus said.
I deeply sympathize.
Through sobs and tears, he sorted out those largest of their size.
holding his pocket handkerchief before his streaming eyes.
Oh yes, the time has come, my little friends, to talk of food and things.
Of peppercorn, some mustard seed, and other seasonings. Hip hip hooray, we'll eat today, like cabbages and kings.
Oh,
Oysters, you've had a pleasant run.
shall we be trotting home again?
But answer came there none.
But answer came there none.
And this was scarcely odd, because they'd eaten every one.
Well, I like the walrus best because, you see, he was a little sorry for the poor oysters.
He ate more than the carpenter, though.
Well, then I like the carpenter best.
But he ate as many as he could get.
Oh, well, at any rate, I'd better be going. Do you think it's going to rain?
No, I don't think it is. At least not in a year, Noel.
But it may rain outside.
It may if it chooses. We've no objection, contrary-wise.
Foolish things.
Do you see that?
It's only a rattle. An old rattle, quite old and broken.
I knew it. It's spoiled, of course.
You needn't be so angry about an old rattle.
But it isn't, Harold. It's new, I tell you. I bought it yesterday. My nice new rattle. Of course, you agreed to have a battle.
I suppose so. Only she must help us to dress up.
Oh, but where does this go?
Around my neck.
To keep my head from being cut off.
It's one of the most serious things that can possibly happen to one in a battle. Do I look very pale?
Well, yes, a little.
I'm very brave generally, only today I happen to have a headache.
And I've got a toothache. I'm far worse off than you.
Well, then we'd better not fight today.
We must have a bit of a fight.
What's the time now?
4:30.
Let's fight till 6 and then have dinner.
Agreed, and she can watch us, only you better not come very close. I generally hit everything I can see when I get really excited.
And I hit everything within reach, whether I can see it or not.
My God! Touche! Will you be good enough to stop a minute just to get one's breath again? There was never a more glorious battle, was there, Noel?
Oh, yes. But I'd better be getting on my way, for really it is getting very dark.
Dinner time already?
No more pepper! More pepper!
Everything is so confusing here. What ought to be up is down, what ought to be right is wrong, and what ought to be forward is backward. Huh. Suppose everyone really is mad here.
A very merry on birthday. A very merry on birthday. Be merry on birthday to us. A very merry on birthday to you. To who? To you. Oh, me? A very merry on birthday to me. To you? To me. Oh, you. Let's all congratulate ourselves with another cup of tea. And a very merry on birthday to you.
Very uncomfortable for the dormouse. Only as it's asleep, suppose it doesn't mind. Well, there's plenty of room.
Have some wine.
I don't see any wine.
There isn't any.
Well, then it wasn't very civil of you to offer it.
It wasn't very civil of you to sit without being invited.
I didn't know it was your table. It's laid for a great many more than 3.
Your hair wants cutting.
You should learn not to make personal remarks. It's very rude.
Why is a raven like a writing desk?
We shall have some fun now. I love riddles. I believe I can guess the answer to that.
Do you mean you think you can find out the answer to it?
Exactly so.
Then why don't you say what you mean?
I do. At least I mean what I say. That's the same thing, you know.
Not the same thing a bit. Why, you might just as well say, I see what I eat is the same thing as I eat what I see. You might just as well say that. Or like what I get is the same thing as I get what I like.
You might as well say that. I breathe when I sleep. It's the same thing as I sleep when I breathe.
It is the same thing with you. Oh! What day of the month is it?
The 4th.
2 days wrong. Oh. I told you butter wouldn't suit the works. It is the best butter. Yes, but some crumbs must have gone in it as well. You shouldn't have put it in with the bread knife.
What a funny watch. It tells the day of the month, but doesn't tell what o'clock it is.
Why should it? Does your watch tell what year it is?
Well, of course not. But that's because it stays the same time for such a long time altogether.
Which is just the case with mine.
I don't quite understand.
Oh, the dormouse is asleep again.
Oh, of course. Just what I was going to remark.
Such violence! Such vile violence! Such violently vile violence! He won't stand for a beating. Now, if you only kept on good terms with him, he'd do almost anything you'd like with the clocks. For instance, if it were 9 o'clock in the morning, just time to begin lessons, you'd only have to whisper a hint at a time, and round goes the clock in a twinkling. 4:30, tea time! I only wish it was!
Well, that would be grand, certainly, but then I shouldn't be hungry for it, you know.
Not at first, perhaps, but you could keep it 4:30 as long as you'd like.
Is that the way you manage?
Not I. We quarreled last March, just before you know who went mad. I remember it well. And ever since that, time won't do a thing I ask. It's always 4:30 now. Oh!
Well, I would think you might let a guest win once in a while.
Twinkle, twinkle, little bat. How I wonder what you're at. You know the song, perhaps?
I've heard something like it.
Well, you know, it goes on in this way. Up above the world you fly, like a tea tray in the sky. Twinkle, 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 twinkle.
Is that the reason there's so many tea things put out here?
Yes, that's it. It's always tea time, with no time to watch the things between whiles.
Then you keep moving round, I suppose.
Exactly so, as the things get used up.
But what happens when you come to the beginning again?
The dormouse is asleep again. Dormouse! I wasn't asleep. I heard every word you fellows were saying. Tell us a story, Dormouse.
Oh, yes, please do.
And be quick about it, or you'll be asleep again before it's through. Once upon a time, there were 3 little sisters, and they lived at the bottom of a well.
What did they live on?
They lived on treacle.
They couldn't have done that. They'd have been ill, you
So
know.
they were very ill.
But why did they live at the bottom of a well?
It was a treacle well. They were learning to draw, and they drew all manner of things. Everything that begins with an M.
Why with an M?
Why not? That begins with an M, such as mousetraps, and the moon, and memory, and muchness. You know, you say things are much of a muchness. Did you ever see such a thing as a drawing of a muchness?
Well, there's no such thing.
Well, if you can't be civil, you'd better just finish the story for yourself. I vote the young hostess tells us a story.
But I'm not the hostess.
We were told that you were. Don't you even know who you are?
I don't quite. That is.
Just as I thought. Completely mad.
Nobody asked your opinion.
Someone's getting grouchy. Here, take some more tea.
Well, I haven't had any yet, so I can't take more.
You mean you can't take less? It's very easy to take more than nothing.
Oh, you haven't offered me a thing. Very well, then. I'll help myself.
Well, she turned out to be a dear and poet, or simply parched.
But I'm not hosting this party. You are.
Oh, and I suppose we're supposed to just help ourselves out. Is that it? Host a party without doing the hostess duties? Makes the guests pour their own tea. Well, I never.
Really? Now you ask me. I don't think.
Then you shouldn't speak. I want a clean cup. Move down, move down, move down.
very provoking to be called an egg. Very.
I said you look like an egg, sir. And some eggs are very pretty, you know.
Some people have no more sense than a baby.
Humpty Dumpty sat on a wall. Humpty Dumpty had a great fall. All the king's horses and all the king's men couldn't put Humpty Dumpty in his place again.
Don't stand there chattering to yourself, but instead, tell me your name and your business.
My name is Alice.
It's a stupid name enough. What does it mean?
Must a name mean something?
Of course. My name means the shape I am, and a good handsome shape it is too.
Why do you sit out here all alone?
Why? Because there's nobody with me. Do you think I didn't know that? Ask another.
Don't you think you'd be safer down on the ground? That wall is so very narrow.
Of course I don't. But if I did fall, which there's no chance of, but if I did fall off, the king has promised me. You didn't think I'd say that, did you? The king has promised me with his very own mouth
to send all his horses, all his men.
You've been listening at doors and behind trees and down chimneys, or you wouldn't have known it.
I haven't indeed. It's in a book. What a beautiful belt you've got on. At least, a beautiful cravat, I should have said. No, a belt, I mean. Oh, dear. If only I knew which was neck and which was waist.
It's the most provoking thing when a person doesn't know the difference between a belt and a cravat.
I know, it's very ignorant of me.
I received it as an unbirthday present.
I beg your pardon.
I'm not offended.
No, I mean, what is an unbirthday present?
A present when it isn't your birthday, of course.
I like birthday presents best.
You don't know what you're talking about. How many days are there in a year?
365.
And how many birthdays have you?
1.
So if you take 1 from 365, what remains?
364, of course.
I'd rather see that done on paper. I'll take your word for it. That goes to show that there are 364 days when you might receive unbirthday presents, and only 1 for birthday presents.
Well, you seem very clever at explaining words, sir. Would you mind telling me the meaning of the poem called Jabberwocky?
Well, I can explain all poems that were ever invented, and a great many more that haven't been yet.
All right, well, 'twas Brillig and the slimy toves did gyre and gimble in the wabe, or Mimsy were the boro goves and
That's enough. There are plenty of hard words there. Brillig means 4 o'clock in the afternoon, the time when you began broiling things for dinner.
That'll do very well. And slithy?
Slithy means lithe and slimy. Who's been repeating all this hot stuff to you?
Well, I read it in a book, but I had some poetry much easier than that repeated to me by Tweedle, I think it was.
The piece I'm going to repeat was written entirely for your amusement.
Thank you very much.
In the winter, when the fields are white, I sing this song for your delight. Only I don't sing it.
Thank you.
In spring, when the woods are getting green, I'll tell you what I mean.
Thank you very much.
In summer, when the days are getting long, perhaps you'll understand the song. In autumn, when the woods are turning brown, take pen and ink and write it down.
I will if I can remember it so long.
You needn't go on making remarks. They're not sensible and they put me out. I sent a message to the fish. I told them, this is what I wish. The little fishies answer was, we cannot do it, sir.
I'm
because
afraid I don't quite...
It gets easier further on. Then someone came to me and said, the little fishies are in bed. When I found the door was locked, I pulled and pushed and kicked and knocked. And when I found the door was shut, I tried to turn the handle, but...
Is that all?
That's all. Goodbye.
Goodbye. Till we meet again.
I should know you if we did meet. You're so exactly like other people. Whoa! Whoa! Whoa!
Of all the unsatisfactory people I ever met, well, he sure is one of them. All right, are we all ready?
Yes.
On your marks, get set, go!
Look out now, Five. Don't go splashing paint over me like that. I couldn't help it. Seven jogged me elbow.
That's right, Five. Always place the blame on others.
You better not talk. I heard only yesterday that the Queen said you deserve to be beheaded. Oh, what for?
That is none of your business.
Yes, it is his business. No, I'm telling. It was for giving the cook tulip roots instead of onions.
All right, knock it off. Would you tell me, please, why you were painting those roses?
What? The fact is, you see, miss, this year ought to have been a red rose tree. And we put a white one by mistake.
And if the Queen was to find out, we'd all have our heads cut off, you know?
So you say, miss?
Just doing our best before she comes to...
The Queen! The Queen!
No. Okay. Who is this? Idiot. What is your name, child? My name is Alice. So please, your majesty. And who are these? How should I know? It's no business of mine. Off with her head! Oh, nonsense!
Consider, my dear. She's only a child.
Turn him over! Get up! You make me giddy. What have you been doing here?
May it please your majesty, we were just...
I see! Off with their heads! Can you play croquet? Yes. Come along then. It's the White Rabbit! Hello.
No, yes, it's a very nice day.
Very. Where's the Duchess?
She is under sentence of execution.
What for?
Did you say what a pity?
No, I didn't. I don't think it's at all a pity. I said what for?
She boxed the Queen's ears. Oh, hush, 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 hush. The Queen will hear you. You see, she came rather late, and the Queen said...
Bring out the hedgehogs! Get to your places!
There she is. Oh, this was marvelous. She does again. hand if it likes.
I'd rather not.
Don't be impertinent, and don't look at me like that.
A cat may look at a king. I've read that in some book, but I don't remember where.
Well, it must be removed. My dear, I wish you had this cat removed.
Off with his head!
I'll fetch the executioner myself.
Alice, yes, come join us.
Yes, of course.
Or mean what I say, or can't, and I'll tell you what. This is my argument. You can't cut a head off unless there's a body to cut it from. That's nature, that is. I've never had to do such a thing in my life before, and I won't stop at my time of life.
Hear, hear.
Anything that has a head can be beheaded. You are not to talk nonsense.
If something isn't done about this in less than no time, I'll have everybody executed all round. It belongs to the duchess. You'd better ask her about it.
Yes, ask the duchess.
She's being beheaded. Fetch her here.
You can't think how glad I am to see you again, you dear old thing. You're thinking about something, my dear. I can't tell you just now what the moral of that is, but I shall remember it in a bit.
Perhaps it hasn't one.
Tut, tut! Child, everything has a moral, so long as you can find it. I am quite doubtful about the temper of your flamingo.
He might bite.
Very true. Flamingos and mustard both bite, and the moral of that is, birds of a feather flock together.
Only mustard isn't a bird.
Right, what a clear way you have of putting things.
It's a mineral, I think.
Of course it is. There's a large mineral mine near here, and the moral of that is, the more there is of mine, the less there is of yours.
Oh, I know, it's a vegetable. It doesn't look like one, but it is.
Right, I quite agree with you. And the moral of that is, be what you would seem to be. Or, if you'd like to put it more simply, never imagine yourself not to be otherwise than what it might appear to others that what you were, or what you might have been, was not otherwise than what you had been, would have appeared to them to be otherwise.
I can't quite follow that as you say it. Perhaps if I had it written down.
That's nothing to what I could say if I chose.
Oh, pray, don't trouble yourself to say it any longer.
Oh, don't talk of trouble. I've made you a present of everything I've said as of yet. A lovely day, Your Majesty.
Now, I give you fair warning. Either you or your head must be off, and that's in about no time. Take your choice. Have you seen the mock turtle? I don't even know what a mock turtle is. It's the thing mock turtle soup is made from. 5. Take this girl to the mock turtle to hear his history.
Your Majesty, yes, sir. It is time.
Game over.
Wonderful,
The guards! My tots? They're gone! Someone has stolen my
that he hasn't got no sorry, you see. Come on. This here girl wants to know your history, she do.
Sit down. And don't speak a word till I finish.
I don't see how he can ever finish if he doesn't begin.
Once, I was a real turtle. We went to school in the sea. The master was an old turtle. We used to call him Tortoise.
Why did you call him Tortoise if he wasn't one?
We called him Tortoise because he taught us. You are very dumb. Yes, we went to school in the sea, though you mayn't believe it.
I never said that I didn't.
You did. Yes, we had the best of educations. Reading and writing, of course, to begin with, and then the different branches of arithmetic. Ambition, distraction, uglification, and derision.
I never heard of uglification. What is it?
You know what beautify is, I suppose?
Yes. It means to make anything prettier.
Well then, if you don't know what to uglify is, you are a simpleton.
What else did you to learn?
Well, there was mystery, ancient and modern, lithography. Then, once a week, we had drawing and stretching.
And how many hours a day did you do lessons?
10 hours the first day, 9 the next, and so on.
What a curious plan.
That's the reason they're called lessons, because they lesson day to day.
Then the 11th day must have been a holiday.
Of course it was. That's enough about lessons. Since you haven't lived under the sea much, you can have no idea what the delightful thing a lobster quadrille is.
What sort of a dance is it?
First, you gather into a line along the seashore. Then, once you've cleared all the jellyfish out of the way, you advance twice, change lobsters, and retire in the same order. Then, you throw the lobsters as far out to sea as you can. That's all the first figure.
It sounds like a very pretty dance.
Would you like to see a little of it?
Very much indeed.
We can do it without the lobsters.
Interesting dance.
Come, let us hear your adventures.
Well, I could tell you my adventures beginning from this morning, but there's no use in going back to yesterday because I was a different person then.
That's very curious. It's all about as curious as it can be. I've never heard it before, but it sounds uncommon nonsense. Yes, I think you'd better leave off.
Well, how about we try another figure of the lobster quadrille?
I'll just give you a song. Beautiful soup, so rich and green, we're hating in a hot tureen. Who for such dainties would not stoop? Soup of the evening, beautiful soup. Soup of the evening, beautiful soup. Beautiful soup, beautiful soup. Soup of the evening, beautiful, beautiful soup. Beautiful soup, who cares for fish, game, or any other dish? Who would not give all else for two? Pennyworth only of beautiful soup. Pennyworth only of beautiful soup. Beautiful soup, beautiful soup. Soup of the evening, beautiful. Beautiful soup.
What trial is this?
Come on. suppose if you suppose, then we all suppose.
Silence in the court!
Oh, silence in the court!
Harold, read the accusation.
The Queen of Hearts, she made some tarts on a summer day. Oh, the Knave of Hearts, he stole those tarts and took them quite away.
Consider your verdict.
Not yet, Your Majesty. There's still a great deal more to come before that.
Of course. Call the first witness.
First witness?
Off with his head!
We haven't had the trial yet, my dear.
Stuff and nonsense!
You can't stuff nonsense with pepper. Wouldn't taste right.
First witness!
Oh dear. It's that mad hatter. Oh, I wish you wouldn't squeeze me so. I can hardly breathe.
Give your evidence. And don't be nervous.
Or I'll have you executed on the spot.
I'm sorry for bringing this in, but I hadn't quite finished my tea when I was sent for.
You ought to have finished.
When did you begin?
14th of March, I think it was.
The 15th!
The 16th.
Take off your hat.
It isn't mine.
Oh, stolen.
Oh, I'm a poor man, Your Majesties, and I hadn't just begun my tea not about a week or so ago. And what with the bread and butter getting so thin, and the twinkling of the tea.
The twinkling of what?
It began with the tea.
Of course, twinkling begins with a T. Do you take me for a dunce? Go on.
Most things twinkled after that. Only the Matinee said...
We did it! You did. I deny it.
He denies it.
Well, at any rate, the Dormouse said... And after that, they cut some more bread and butter.
But what did the Dormouse say?
I can't remember.
You may go.
And just take his head off outside.
Call the next witness. Give your evidence.
Chance.
Your Majesty must cross-examine this witness.
If I must, I must. What are tarts made of?
Pepper. Mostly.
Tarts aren't made of pepper. They're made of treacle. Behead that dormouse.
Off with his whisker.
Pinch him.
Call the next witness.
Yes. The next witness is Alice.
Here.
Courage, Alice. Courage.
What do you know about this business?
Nothing. Nothing whatever. Nothing whatever.
That's very important.
Unimportant, Your Majesty means, of course.
Of course, unimportant. I mean, important. Unimportant. Important. Unimportant. Unimportant. Yes, you be sure.
Yes.
Consider your verdict.
Silence! Who is this creature?
Some kind of monster calls itself Alice.
Oh, you forgot Rule 42.
Rule 42?
All creatures named Alice must leave the court. It's the oldest rule in the book. Then it ought to be rule number 1.
Consider your verdict.
Not yet, Your Majesty. You see, this paper has just been picked up. It seems to be a letter written by the prisoner to somebody.
Are they in the prisoner's handwriting?
No, they're not.
And that's the strangest thing about it.
He must have imitated someone else's hand.
Please, Your Majesty, I didn't write it, and they can't prove I did. There's no name signed at the bottom.
You didn't sign it. That only makes matters worse. You must have meant some mischief, or you signed your name like an honest man.
That proves his guilt. That proves nothing of the sort. Why, you don't even know what they're about.
Read them.
Where shall I begin, Your Majesty?
Begin at the beginning and go until the end. Then stop.
I gave her 1, they gave him 2. You gave us 3 or more. They all returned from him to you, though they were mine before.
That's the most important piece of evidence we've heard yet. So now, let the jury...
If any of them can explain it, or give him a sixpence. I don't believe there's an atom of meaning in it. She doesn't believe there's an atom of meaning in it.
If you don't believe there's an atom of meaning in it, that saves the world of trouble.